So I wanted to make a video real quick to kind of explain the situation of where I'm at right now and trying to get everything kind of ironed out. I've been monitoring my AMD build for quite some time since getting a Ryzen 5 2600. And when I was on that build, pretty much all the parts that I have in the tower that I'm currently using are the same except for just moving to a different case as of this morning. I went from a Zalman H1 to a Cooler Master Half X that I've had lying around for a little bit of time. Um, so in this AMD build, I started out with a Ryzen 5 2600 and an MSI X470 Gaming Plus board. And now I'm not exactly using it specifically for gaming, but gaming is kind of a secondary thing. I've been doing audio production on it for quite some time, and on the side, I intended on doing some sort of video editing, but for some weird reason, I don't know what it is, but even after replacing the 2600 with the 3900X and changing the RAM from, I believe it was either 2133 or 2444 up to 2666 and staying at 32 gigs of physical RAM. I don't know what it is exactly, but certain games make this build just roar like a jet engine. Rendering videos seems to make everything take off like a jet engine, but at least, one game specifically only does that and actually vibrates my entire apartment. So I'm doing everything I can to monitor what's going on with the build and sort of just deduce the problems down to whatever specifically. At this point, I'm going to be out of work for a few days just to monitor everything and make sure I'm not blue screening. I might wind up giving it 48 hours total, not sure yet. So just reducing myself to basic operations, not gaming, not programming or recording anything music related or whatever. Definitely not video rendering at the moment. Just anything I can do to kind of deduce the problem. If the problem is the motherboard, that's the last thing out of my entire build that I have to kind of look into. So at the moment, uh, yeah, I don't know exactly how long it's going to take or whatever, but doing everything I can, at least at this point, in order to do something, in order to get this thing working the way I need it to be working. If I have to replace the motherboard, which at this point I imagine would be more optimal, especially with the 3900X, then I'll go that route. I have the money saved on the side for it, so if it comes to it, it comes to it. But I'm doing what I can in order to try and prevent myself from going further under and whatever, because I've been having this blue screen hassle for more than 12 months now, to a point where changing the processor, replacing hard drives and solid state drives has reduced the number, but there's still a bit of an issue somewhere. So at this point, the only two things that are still old in terms of my build were the case and the motherboard. And I've already swapped all my parts into a new case, so we're going to see how this works. And if it doesn't work, then the motherboard is officially the culprit. So I do apologize if I'm not providing content on a level where I would like to be doing it. My limitations are only so much, and trying to reduce them is kind of a goal here, especially with trying to produce content to provide to the YouTube platform and be able to do everything as I need to do it, especially for being a musician, trying to produce music from metal to synthwave, retrowave, whatever you want to call it, industrial rock, ambient, just everything. But being able to do that while also doing video rendering on a card that should be stable enough for it, with a processor that should be stable enough for it, and kind of just getting back to the standard work while also doing screen capture, and even at some point, once again, when I can get to it, live streaming on a regular basis. Um, I mean, I don't want to try to make this a long ass video and try to explain everything in depth. I just want you to know that I'm trying to do everything I can in my power and within my financial reason to produce content again for the platform and be able to do something that's going to be substantial for people that are looking for that information, something that might help them out in taking their productions to another step, or if they need some sort of basics, I'm able to at least go over some of that. There are other YouTube channels that do provide the same content as it is, but they all have different approaches to things, but it's still optimal information to grow from there. So I just want to at least give you the heads up as to where things are at right now. Testing everything the best I can and making sure that once I have everything guaranteed where I need it to be at, that maybe I can start producing something more frequently and that I won't have all of these various limitations and looming threats of blue screens at the rate that I've had them since going from an Intel build that worked solidly until it decided to self-immolate up to this point. So that is where I'm at with everything. My apologies if this is a relatively boring update or whatever, but I want you to just, know this stuff because I'm wanting to dedicate more of my time into creating content to YouTube for people that are looking for specific information. If you have requests of any sorts, I may not be able to fulfill all of them, but if you do respond to a video with a comment, I will try my best to at least respond to that comment. If there's something that I may have failed to produce in a video or have overlooked or whatever, you can still, comment on it, and I'll try to at least address it in future videos. And that's all I can say at this point. Otherwise, life is fun and interesting. I can't really say too much about it. But I hope that this video finds you well in better circumstances than what we've been going through for the last 5 months or whatever. And maybe to some, extent that I can be able to come back and help you out a little bit more with whatever it is that I want to do. With that said, yeah, any questions, any various things, feel free to ask them. I'll try to respond the best I can. Making synth tones for like pop songs, for example, is not exactly something I'm going to be able to easily do because I don't really listen to the majority of it. I do respect the people and the performers and whatnot that help write this stuff, but I'm not really that familiar with what those people use and how they do it. I'm kind of more of like an industrial and metal kind of a guy with a idea of implementing like orchestral and symphonic elements and all that kind of stuff, and a little bit of synthwave. So if you have something in mind on that level, I'll try to do what I can to help you get a good understanding of some of that and what would probably be the best instrument to use toward all that stuff. Otherwise, in the meantime, I'll try to keep you updated. Next video might be another one of these, same angle, same whatever, but we'll see. I'm going to just wing it, see how this goes, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then scrap the build and get a brand new one and make it work. We'll find out. Meantime, take her easy, and I'll see you in the future.